Hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining the Redington and Barracuda session. We have Ravi, our pre-sales consultant from Redington Value, who will be running throughout the session. We hope we will provide you all the information required, and you can go to Q&A button on the right. At the end of the session, we will answer all your questions. Also, please note that we will run a quiz at the end of the session. Ravi, over to you.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. I'm Ravi. I'm handling a Barracuda product as a pre-sales consultant in Redington, and today's agenda for the webinar is to show you the email threat scanner, our product. I will show you the demo, and I will also talk about the latest email threat in the face of COVID-19 situation. So let's start. So as we know that most of the breaches that starts with the email, and what is most important is that here in slide is 93% of the email breaches, it starts with the social engineering. They use this technique, and in the next slides that I'm going to discuss different attacks. In all the attack that we will see that social engineering is the one technique that they use to get into the network using an email attack. And right now I'm going to talk about this COVID-19 email attacks, because as we go into this kind of situation, hacker is, we all know that they are always one step ahead. And what they have done is, using this situation that we are right now, they have crafted the email in such a way that it looks genuine, and all the information that they are providing for the COVID-19 situation right now, and using this information they are sending a different kind of phishing email and everything. So what we have seen in past 2 months is that the domain registration for the coronavirus related website has increased. As you can see, from March 9th to 8th of March, what we have seen is there are an increase in the number of domain registration for the name related to coronavirus. Now, it's why I'm telling you this is that most of these domain registration are genuine, of course, but some of the domain that have registered, they have been have been using it for malicious intent, and using this domain they are sending an email to different organization. And similar trend about the attacks as well, not only in Europe, US, also in Middle East, that hacker have spent time on the weekdays and they are not sending an email on weekend. So the spike which you see, it is during the weekdays, and the spike which is going down, it is during the weekend. So they are sending the attack also to the more on the remote worker. So as the we are right now, everyone is working from the home, we know that we are not in touch with the IT team directly, and right now all the remote worker who does not have a much knowledge about this IT security, they are most vulnerable. And cyber criminal, they have carefully attack this during the weekdays only, and what malicious email arrived during the weekday, it actually they are using a spear phishing attack technique, and it is mostly between the Tuesday and Thursday, with 1 to 5 email they are sending on the Tuesday, because this is the time when they are sending most of the email, as you can see from the graph. And more importantly, what we have find out on the dark web is the kit is available on sale, and you can use this kit to craft any email related to COVID-19 information, and then you can send that information to actually get into the network, or you can get whatever information the hacker would want. So there are different attack like which I'm going to discuss, and all of that attack they can be actually launched using this kind of kit which is available on the dark web. So before we progress to the different attacks, just wanted to bring your attention to the traditional email security. So maybe most of you are familiar with this kind of setup where email security gateway is placed between the internet and your Exchange server or whatever server that you are using on premise, and it will provide you protection against the normal spam phishing attack. Now this is really good technique, but a few years ago, but what hacker have done, they have changed the techniques in the sending a different kind of attacks, like for example 0-day attack. So what we have seen in last 5 years, they have actually gear up their attack or technique, and they are sending a different crafted email specifically designed for one of the employee of the company. So this kind of email are called a targeted email attack, and traditional email security won't be able to provide the protection against the 0-day attack, because it is not designed to provide you protection for this kind of attack. It has the antivirus, anti-spam, maybe email routing. Based on that, you can send an email to different IT team. So it's very providing you basic security. And nowadays what we see is the modern threats. As you can see that brand impersonation, account takeover, conversation hijacking, business email compromise. So these are the 4 attacks which I'm going to tell you in detail. Apart from that, we have also seen the attack like a blackmail attack. So in that, what they do, the scammer continue to evolve their technique using a social engineering, and they are actually blackmailing the employee of any company, maybe top executive, and they are sending a sextortion email that doesn't contain any malicious link or attachment that traditional email security gateway can found. What they send you is they started to have a normal conversation, and after that they will end up blackmailing them by sending a blackmail email that we have the video of your personal thing, and different information is there. And this kind of email security gateway won't be able to provide protection against. And what we have seen in last 2-3 months is, this is the graph that we have collected from our database, that more than 50% of the email related to scamming. They are just sending a information related to, they're asking for donation, offering a cure like sanitization or a face mask, or maybe investment into the different factory related to this kind of situation. And people are actually falling into it, which is very unfortunate. And apart from the scamming email, which is of course comes from the phishing email and spear phishing email, the second most attack that we have seen is the brand impersonation, that I'm going to tell you in detail. Blackmail, I already discussed what is it, how they are sending a email and start to blackmail the employee. And 1% of the email that we have seen is the business email compromise. Now, why the percentage is very less? Because it's not easy to launch this kind of attack, and it requires a lot of time and effort to launch business email compromise attack. So as I tell you, I'm going to discuss about the account takeover, brand impersonation, business email compromise, and conversation hijacking. So let's first talk about the account takeover. So what does account takeover means? So it occurs when a fraudster gain access to the legitimate user account. That means a hacker is using a genuine employee email account. Maybe it get into the network through data breaches or social engineering, or maybe he has used the credential that has been exposed by some employee on a different website on the internet, or there are chances that they might have purchased the credential on the dark web. Now, email account takeover, it can be more complicated and harmful when it executed in pursuit of cross account takeover. So in cross account takeover, what happened? It fraudster gained the access to the email or the mobile account, and it execute a password change or a one-time password, and then it takes over the victim account, so that actual user will not have the access of the email account with their, and then they can actually ask to transfer the fund from the compromise account to and request to the financial team to make a transfer. So what are the different techniques that can be used by the hacker for the account takeover? So first technique that they use is the hacking. Of course, we all know what hacker can do. There are multiple ways of that hacker use for the hacking technique. The most popular type is the brute force attack, where the cyber criminal they develop the automated script that use the different kind of username and password, and they hope to generate a successful login key. So that is the most common brute force attack for the hacking. The second one is the phishing and spear phishing. So you might have heard about the phishing, in which email comes with one phishing email. But what about the spear phishing? So spear phishing is again highly crafted email which looks genuine, and then starting of the in first what they do, they actually start normal conversation which look the harmless conversation, and after that they send the actual phishing email so that our email security gateway won't be able to detect it. And social engineering, as I stated in my first slide, that 93% of the attack they use the social engineering. So what happens in social engineering? The account takeover preparation, the hacker, they will spend time on researching across the open database like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and they will find the information like name of the employee, location, phone number, or maybe a name of a family member, anything that will be helpful in guessing a password for the specific employee. So that's what they do. They actually research for the employee different personal information which will help them to use as a password. Then the botnet. So hacker will deploy the botnet to hack into customer account. So bot can be a plugin commonly used, a plugin as a commonly used password and username to perform a high volume rapid attack and take over the maximum number of account. So again, botnet is also, you can see a variation of a brute force attack, but it's actually uh, much more easy for a hacker, and it is much more effective to actually crack the specific password. And lastly, the credential stuffing. So this is nothing but the credential stolen from or a leak from a various businesses that is available on the dark web and that are tested against the multiple websites randomly in the hope of catching a victim who hasn't realized their login information is compromised. So these are the different technique for the account takeover. But what is the use of this kind of attack? What they will do after they take over the account of specific employee or executive? So the goal of the account takeover is of course, a phishing campaign. That is the first one of the thing that they do. So what will happen in phishing campaign? Some attacker, they will use the hacked email account to launch a phishing campaign that will go undetected, because if an email is coming from a genuine domain, and so normal email security gateway won't be able to block it by the domain name or the blacklisted IP, because it is genuine and you can use it to launch a attack on a different organization. Then one of the thing is the credentials sell. Some attacker steal credential of other employee using the account takeover, and they sell them in the black market. Then further account takeover is also one of the reason why they do this kind of attack. In further account takeover, the others use the account to conduct the recognition in order to launch the personalized attack. So they will actually find the more information in this kind of attack to launch a personalized attack on a different employee of a organization. And again, the most important is the business email compromise. Now, the sophisticated attacker, they will steal the credential of key employee and use them to launch an attack from real employee's email address with a goal of setting up a fraudulent transaction or a request of a transfer of wire fund. So this is what they will do after doing account takeover. And lastly, the reputation damage. So in that account takeover, the attacker can target multiple end user of organization using the phishing campaign, and it can cause a long-term damage to the reputation of the business. So imagine if somebody is getting a phishing email from a company where they are doing a actual business, and then they will find out that they are the one who is actually sending us the phishing email. So it will have the long-term impact or damage on the reputation of the company. So this is about account takeover. Next is the brand impersonation. As the name suggests, what they will do, they will actually use the mostly use brand to impersonate and send the phishing email or the different kind of zero-day attack to get into the network. Now this type of spear phishing, they use the spear phishing attack, which is designed to impersonate, as I say, website like Microsoft, Apple, and also nowadays what we have seen is the DocuSign, because everything is going online. So DocuSign is also getting impersonated. And attacker, they are using this to steal the personally identifiable information such as credit card, social security number, and so on. And mostly the highest number of the impersonated brand that we have seen is the Microsoft and Apple. But in the face of COVID-19 situation, what we have seen now is that organization like WHO and CDC, they are also getting impersonated. Now, if you're getting an email from WHO, you must be thinking, anyone will be thinking that, okay, this is the email which is coming from WHO and it is to prevent you from getting infected of coronavirus, right? So how does this brand impersonation attacks work? In most brand impersonation attack, as you can see, this is one of the example that we have, and what we have identified is the email comes from the WHO. Looks like it is coming from WHO, and what they are doing is that this is the Dropbox link for the health advice of the coronavirus, and this will show you that we have reviewed our practice to keep you from the infected guy. So anyone will fall into this kind of attack. But this email, it is, if you see, it is from who.org, and if you see the actual URL of the WHO, it is who.int. So this is how brand impersonation work. So in brand impersonation, mostly the scammer will use the email to impersonate trusty entity like WHO, right? And try to get recipient to give account credential or click on the malicious link, as you can see here. And attacker, they often use domain spoofing technique or a lookalike domain to make their impersonation attack convincing, using carefully designed template that impersonate top brand. And also cyber criminal sends email claiming your account has been frozen. For getting an email from Microsoft that your account has been frozen, so this is the kind of email that they will send, and they will give you a link to reset the password. Now sometimes this emails ask you to review your account or a document, and if you click on the link that is provided, you will arrive at a phishing website. You will, and it looks like a legitimate, but it is designed to harvest your login credential. And if you enter your username and password on a fake website, they will gain access of your real account, and then they can steal the confidential data. Maybe they can conduct the financial fraud or launch more targeted attack within your organization. So brand impersonation is also to one of attack to launch an different kind of attack like business email compromise. And this is, as I as I mentioned, this is a domain spoofing that has happened here. WHO, this is organization, this is not the actual domain name of the WHO. So next we will move to the business email compromise. So this is one of the email attack which is not easy to launch, and it requires a lot of time to launch this kind of attack. So what happens, how does it work is, in this type of scam, it is targeting a company who conduct wire transfer. So mostly they will target the company which is actually doing a wire transfer, and their supplier or their vendor or partner, they are abroad, they are not within the country or within one city. And corporate or they what they will use, they will use the publicly available email account of executive or high level employee which are working in the finance department of the company, and or other employee who is involved in the wire transfer payment, and then they will spoof or maybe compromise them through a keylogger or a phishing attack to do a fraudulent transfer, resulting in hundreds of thousands of dollars in losses. This kind of attack, business email compromise, it is also dubbed as man in the email scam. So business email compromise attacker rely heavily on social engineering technique to trick unsuspecting employees and executive. Often they impersonate COE or any executive authorized to do wire transfer. In addition, fraudster also carefully research and closely monitor their potential target, victim, and their organization. Some of the samples that we have seen in the email messages have subject that contain the words such as request, payment, transfer, urgent, and so on. And based on the different report, what we have found is there are 5 types of business email compromise attack. One is the bogus invoice scammer. They will companies with a foreign supplier often targeted with this kind of technique, bogus invoice scheme, wherein attacker pretend to be a supplier and they will requesting a fund transfer for a payment to an account that is owned by themselves. The second one is a CEO fraud, in which the attacker pose as they act as a company CEO or any top executive, and then send an email to an employee which are working in the financial department and requesting them to transfer the money to their account. Then one of the most important is the data theft. Employee under the HR or IT team, they have been targeted with this kind of attack and to obtain the personally identifiable information or a text statement of an employee or executive. And such data they can be used in the future attack. For example, in the blackmail attack, that I have your text information, I have the personal information that they can use later on. So how does this look like? As you can see, are you in office? I need to process a bank transfer. Give me a quick reply when this is getting done. So this is one kind of business email compromise attack that they have seen. As you can see here, they are using a brand impersonation. The email is not from actual company domain, it's from different company. Actually, it's a fraud company named conp.com and original company is corp.com. And business email, this kind of is continue to grow as we going deeper into this COVID-19 crisis, and they are using this situation as an urgency to trick user and the security solution. And lastly, I'm going to talk about conversation hijacking attack. So what happens? This is again, it's one of the attack which requires a lot of time and lot of efforts to launch into this kind of attack. Now to execute this conversation hijacking attack, cyber criminals use domain impersonations, including typo-squitting technique. They spend time in planning the conversation hijacking before they actually launch the attack. So first part of the conversation hijacking is always going to be account takeover of a specific top executive of a company to understand the business transaction, and then they prepare for the attack. And to execute this kind of attack, they use again brand impersonation, including typo squitting technique, such as replacing one letter in the legitimate URL with similar letter. For example, O with Q, or adding an unnoticeable letter to the legitimate URL. In preparation for the attack, they will register or buy the impersonating domain. Actually, as we see in the previous slide, how the domain registration is happening related to COVID coronavirus. And domain impersonation is very high impact attack. It can be easy to miss in such kind of situation, and it's very difficult to differentiate the legitimate URL and impersonate URL. For example, a taker trying to impersonate maybe a Redington.com website would have used Redington G.com, Reddington R.com, or maybe they will place Reddington in between double I in our spelling. So this is what they do. And sometime the attacker can change the top level domain as well. For example, our website is reddingtongulf.com. Instead of that, they will use the reddingtongulf.org.net or .co to fool the victim. And in addition to that, we have seen that conversation hijacking, they actually in recent time they are getting more complex and more difficult to attack. Now you can see on this that in conversation hijacking we have quarantined this using our technique, but the actual victim won't be able to identify this as a attack, because what he will see is a subject. Here see, it will see a subject which is actually a thing that it's a reply from the old conversation. They will not craft a new email, but they will actually find a email where the fund transfer or wire transfer request is going on, and then they will actually use that email and send it to the top executive. So as you can see, due to security reason, we have not provided the domain which is there in the attack. So this is where we will find the domain impersonation, and this is the subject which you will see reply to existing conversation. As you can see, its subject is RE and invoice, and hence in the subject of the email they are actually requesting to change the payment method. So this is what the conversation hijacking is all about. So the main question is, what are the best practices during the crisis? As we speak, we know that it will be very difficult for one customer to buy a new solution. So what we can actually do as a best practice for our customer. So of course, the first thing is the spam filter. Implement all the spam scanner and other tool to scan the message and block the email. Also implement spyware protection, a robust cybersecurity program for the anyone that you can use from free tool or a tool which you already have for spyware removal service. So that will not help the hacker to launch an attack into the organization. Most important is that for top executive, use email encryption method. So if you are a Barracuda customer, we have the email encryption technology already available. So on all your existing customer, you can use the email encryption method for top executives so that the sensitive data can be secure. And most importantly, right now the time is to educate all the employee of our organization. You can use our training program, which is very useful to educate all the customer. All the employee of a customer, they will from one tool you can send a spam to all the employee, and whoever clicks on that email, you will get understanding that these are the soft target within the organization and you need to train them. And we have also videos available. And most importantly, what we can do is we can provide API based integration. So traditional email security, of course, it going to provide the reputation filter, spam, antivirus, advanced threat protection. But for the technique like the social engineering, I'm specifically talking about the Office 365. You will not be able to detect the email like account takeover or conversation hijacking. For that, you need a technique which is directly integrated into Office 365. So we have the product called Barracuda Sentinel, which has the AI based and ML based technique, artificial intelligence and machine learning, because we have directly integrated with Office 365 inboxes. So we can also scan all the previous email as well. So if you even integrate Sentinel today, then we can scan all the previous email as well, historical email, and we will be able to identify what are the spam email or threat which is already there. And this is where we will be able to see what gateway has misses. So what I'm going to show you right now is the demo of email threat scanner. And the good thing about Sentinel is you don't have to change the MX record for the Office 365 account. So whenever we talk about email security and you need to design or you need to have a new solution, you will have to change the MX record. But with Office 365 Sentinel product, you don't have to change an MX record. We can directly integrate with Office 365 account, and this is why the API based security is must in today's world. So now I'm going to show you the how you can integrate uh, Office 365 account for the email thread scanner and present a report to your customer, because it is important that customer should be aware that even if they are using a email security device or a security email security from the Microsoft, whether they are secure or not. So using this report, you can actually present them that this is what your email security has misses. And most importantly, stay safe where you are and stay healthy. So now I'm going to open one link where you can integrate Office 365 account for the email threat scanner. So this is the website name, scan.barracudanetworks.com. You can go to this website and then you can register yourself, company name, and continue. And then it will create one account for you. As I already have the account, I will directly use my account. This is again one demo Sentinel I have created on the Microsoft. So I will log in into this account. So once you log in, this is one already account which I have already integrated. I'm going to scan one another Office 365 account. So what you need to do once you log in, go to the top right side and click scan Office 365 account and click on connect to Office 365 account. So it will ask you for the admin username and password of the Office 365. So this is my user for the Office 365 admin account, which I will use. It is already logged in, so it will not ask for the username and password. So once you provide username and password, this is the information that we will have read and write inside collection mailboxes. And we are not going to block any email. We are just going to scan your email and give you the report. This will not block any email into the Office 365 account. So once this is done, it will scan for the mailboxes here, and then it will send a report to the specific email address from which you have logged in. So this is going to take time, and the recommendation is to scan this kind of email at least for 24 hours or 24 to 48 hours. So and then you will get the report. So I'm just going to show you the demo report that is already there, how it's going to look like. As you can see, this is one of the demo report that we used to show to the customer. Fraudulent email that has been found 37 email, and this will show you the information total number of email detected on your account, 37 emails. So this kind of report you will get. So this fraudulent email means maybe it's phishing email or 0-day attack email. And then employee at risk. So total mailboxes are 393, and apart from in that only 26 employees at risk, but 26 is a huge number. If this employee is part of your organization, they can actually send a sensitive data, or they can be used to launch another attack in future. And domain fraud at risk, that means which of the domain that has been used from your organization that are at risk, from to which domain you are getting an attack. And if you click on the summary, it will show you this. Then we go to the detection. So these are the fraud that has been occurred. So this is the time, the recipient, what is the email, from which email it has come, to which account of your organization, and attack type it will show you employee impersonation. And if you click on this, you will get the full email as well. Are you available to initial the so full email you will get. And we are also showing you the analysis that the form address is not this typical address, it is different. The email communication, which is what for urgent requests. So generally this user is not sending this kind of email, is ask recipient for her availability to respond to the specific request. So this is what we have find in the analysis, and based on that technique we have identified the attack. So you can see all the attack that occur during the time, and you can scroll the different attacks. These are the different subject of the email. Then the top domain at risk. So this it showing that which domain it can be spoofed and used for the fraud. These are the employee at risk. It will give you information, so you can go and change the password, or you can put and implement a two-factor authentication method even for all employee, or for if you don't have the budget, then you can use the two-factor authentication for all this employee. As you can see, this is the president and CEO which is at the risk. This is showing top recipient of fraudulent email, who has received most number of spam email or the email that can be used for the attack. And this is the impersonated sender from which you are getting the attack. This is show you the graph of the sender, and this is the receiver. And this is top fraud sending domain, which from which you are getting a phishing email or the different kind of email attack. Types of fraud, as you can see, employee impersonation has been used. If it's a conversation hijacking, it will come here. Blackmail, scamming, all the different kind of attack will come here, and the report will automatically go to the account of the admin, and then he can see it by himself, or if you need the help of myself, I will be available for that as well. So most important thing, this is only for Office 365. Once you present this report, the important thing is what's next. So the next point is for the protection is to go for the Sentinel product, which is all designed for Office 365 specifically, which is AI based and MI based, artificial intelligence and machine learning technique that they use. So this is from my side. If you guys have any question, I'll be happy to help. Ragda.
Thank you, Ravi. Thank you everyone for your time. We hope we have delivered everything you are looking for, and we will also be sending the recording session to your email ID along with the contact details of Ravi, so you can write back to us if you have any more questions. Also, we have a numerous webinar sessions lined up throughout the month. Kindly look forward the invite shared by us, and you can register to any session you want to attend. Thank you again, and have a great day ahead.